অনন্যমনা হইয়া প্রকৃতিকে লইয়া ডুবিয়া থাকো। তার সর্ববিধ আনন্দের বর, সৌন্দর্যের বর, অপূর্ব শান্তির বর তোমার উপর অজস্র ধারে এত বর্ষিত হইবে, তুমি দেখিয়া পাগল হইয়া উঠিবে।
Leaf is the single most basic unit in the food pyramid. If all the forests disappear, there'll be no food. The whole food pyramid will collapse. I'm scared of that day. So we have the leaf here, and then the conceptualization is to go on to what does it mean just to have a leaf. So this was my representation of how I wanted to speak about climate change and deforestation. So once we have kind of finished doing our artwork, we have the print of which what we had conceptualized. And then we have to translate it into a khaka, which is a tracing, and then we will do the actual embroidery. How do I give the feel of what I have seen, what I have drawn, by translating it through Ari, through Zardozi, through Kantha into embroidery. So from start to finish, this is the final product, my deforestation. This is how it looks. It's taken about 4 days to do the leaf and the rest of it. Anything from a leaf to a small ladybird to how the sky changes every evening, whether it is lotus ponds in lotus lakes in Kashmir, and whether it's the Ghat of Banaras, whether it is you are reading a book by who's your favorite author, the imagery, the visuals that you imagine in your mind, all that comes into your work. This one is a very favorite piece of mine. It is inspired by Bibhuti Bhushan Bandyopadhyay's Aranyok. And here I have tried to visualize the forests and the places that he talks about in his book in my own way. I've done this in Katha using various kind of stitches.
দুই দিকের শৈল শানু বনে ভরা, পুষ্পিত সপ্তপর্ণের বন, অর্জুন ও পিয়াল, নানা জাতীয় লতা ও অর্কিডের ফুল, বহু প্রকার পুষ্পের সুগন্ধ একত্র মিলিত হইয়া মৌমাছিদের মতন মানুষকেও নেশায় মাতাল করিয়া তুলিয়াছে। সুদূর অতীতের আর্যরা খাইবার গিরিবর্ত পার হইয়া প্রথম যেদিন পঞ্চনদে প্রবেশ করিয়াছিলেন, বুদ্ধদেব নববিবাহিত তরুণী পত্নীকে ছাড়িয়া যে রাত্রি গৃহত্যাগ করেন, তমসা তীরের পর্ণকুটিরে কবি বাল্মীকি এক মনে রামায়ণ লিখিতে লিখিতে কবে চমকিয়া উঠিয়া দেখিয়াছিলেন, সেই কতকাল আগে যেদিন চন্দ্রগুপ্ত প্রথম সিংহাসনে আরোহণ করেন, চৈতন্যদেব যেদিন শ্রীবাসের ঘরে সংকীর্তন করেন, যে দিনটিতে পলাশীর যুদ্ধ হইল, মহালিখা রূপে ওই শৈলচূড়া, এই বনানী ঠিক এমনই ছিল।
always been very inspired by time and have named this piece The Order of Time. And the worlds talk about what has gone through the years and centuries through that trees, and you can actually figure out when there was a drought, when there was a flood, when there was a fire. So I think this depicts that. So this is the river Ganges, and this shows the urban landscape and how it's spreading out all over the countryside and the suburbs. And how things are just disappearing, animals are becoming extinct, forests are disappearing. So you see things of beauty that we have known throughout history, even when I was a child, from that to now. I mean, my city has changed. There was a teacher of mine who used to say, if you have learned to draw one tree in your life, then you've almost learned everything about art. There's a whole universe in a tree. I mean, what's not there? I mean, in every bark, every crevice, every trunk, every leaf, you can find there are bird nests and myriad animals, and then there are insect eggs, and there are so many. I mean, ants and bugs, spiders and grasshoppers, and any number of things which are which surround a tree ecology. Just one tree. This particular piece has taken us almost 4 to 5 months to do because it's very elaborate, it's very complicated. It is fully inspired by a lot of things around me from the nature, and it's called the Enchanted Forest. And as you can see, there is a deer. This is fully done in Zardozi, and if you focus closely, then you can see the stitches. There, the fur is going in a certain direction. This has taken 7.5 hours to do. Then there is a squirrel over here, which is a tiny thing, but unbelievably it took 6.5 hours to do. Again, a lot of texturing of the furs and everything. It had to be done in Zardozi. Couldn't be done in Ari. There's an owl here. We've used both techniques to do it. There's a ladybird here. But this is my own interpretation of how an enchanted forest would look. It's a LIC diary, and somehow it's been, I still have it. And I have drawn the usual things that kids draw when they are kids. Handwriting was a passion of mine, and I was a kid. I wasn't allowed to hold a pen. So we did everything in pencil, but at home I could always go ahead and, indulge in my pen fascination. We used to do a lot of saris and clothes before, but since last year I stopped making, like more than a year now. Art is my first love. I'm more an artist than a designer, and since I wanted to fuse art, my artistry with textile and fabric and craft, basically. I had a very deep love for craft. So this is where I keep most of my artworks. This is the Krishna piece. It's called Love is Blue because Krishna has a blue aura, and all my favorite elements put together. Since this is Love is Blue is about Radha and Krishna, and Krishna's favorite tree is the Kadam. We are trying to emulate the Kadam tree, the flowers of the Kadam. So Rohit is going to do these with French knots in Zardozi. Trying to mimic what's in nature. Actually, I don't think that's possible. I understand many people do art which looks realistic. They do embroidery which is very realistic. But somewhere I don't want it to be very realistic. After all, it's craft. It should look like craft. Like Pichwai cows. Everybody knows how Pichwai cows are done now. My Pichwai cows, though the shape is same, I have done some anatomical corrections, and my cows are being done differently. Lotus leaves are there. Then how do I do them? I mean, showing the craft. and it has to look visually very appealing. So maybe what I'm doing may not be very utilitarian. Maybe it is not something wearable. Maybe it's something you look at which makes you think. So to preserve it, I mean, this line of beauty will not remain if everything that gives us this inspiration itself disappears.
What we're trying to portray is that there's only like very little life left on earth because we've wiped it out, and nature's trying to take back what we have ruined. So that's our concept for the show.
When she tells a story, that story, you can make out that she puts her heart and soul into it. Because, even if you look at the work that she's done in Kashmir, or the work that she's done on oceans, or the urban space, they look like topo maps. I mean, they're that particularly minute. And that is what excites me about Sunetra's work. Not only does she talk about issues that needs to be talked about, but she also does it in such an intricately detailed way that it almost looks like a picture rather than this constant sewing of hundreds and thousands of hours to actually come to that process. So I think what she's this incredible oscillation between reality and fantasy.
This is a piece, it's called the Koi Pond, and I'm doing it on tussar. This background has been created on tussar with hand brush technique, with silk colors. And now I'm doing the water. As I said, mixed media is very interesting. The rest of the work has been done in Ari and using different techniques. So all these years that I've spent in the field of design, in the field of colors, they have helped me to formulate what I do now. I always apply yellow, golden yellow first, because it's kind of a neutral color, kind of helps blending all the other colors. So here we're going to create a under the sea effect, hopefully. So Meghnad has created this beautiful green for me. I just love this green. I call it the watercress green. So here we have an interesting thing. There's yellow showing through, and I want that to happen. Happy accidents.
Children in a store filled with surprises. We stop at random to look at the busy traffic in the crowded cities.
When we were kids, every Sunday we used to have this series by Jake's Costume and his team of divers. And it was a fascinating world. I mean, we never thought that these were real. We thought it was all a fantasy or something. And of course, we studied about coral reef when I was doing my graduation. And it has always fascinated me. So later on, when I went to Andamans, I went snorkeling and I found everything is so real and colorful and beautiful. And I somehow wanted to translate it into my work. And I think right now the time is right.
And Jake's costume has come to my rescue because I can visualize perfectly everything. And soon we are going to have a work which talks about coral reef, which is going to be very colorful and lots of fishes. And I, I think my dream is going to come true.
So I wanted to do a piece where, you know, I could put in all these elements and create in my own way my own coral reef through art, embroidery, you know, on fabric. I had to understand that, you know, coral reef only grows till a certain height, I mean level or depth of the sea, because till the sunlight reaches, only till that depth, you know, you have corals. So about 50 to 100 feet or a little more. And you also have to be aware like what kind of fishes at that level, like you probably won't be able to, you know, draw a whale at that level because this is a shallow water. So I had to understand like what fishes I can put and not put. So there are going to be about 40 to 50 different kind of fishes. There is a fish called a blue trang, which is very interesting. It's a beautiful blue with a, you know, just a stretch of yellow and black. And then there are discus fishes, there are different corals, there are sand dollars, and there are jellyfishes. There is, you know, a shoal of sharks at one level in the background. So these are all there, and coral reefs would not be, you know, would really miss if we didn't give pufferfish. You know, these are interesting fishes, and they just, you know, when they are becoming aggressive or they are defending themselves, they just puff up like balloons.
The human mind delights in grand conceptions of supernatural beings, and the sea is precisely their best vehicle, the only medium through which these giants can be produced or developed. Various kinds of ices, clusters of pure tuft coral, prickly fungi and anemones formed a brilliant garden of flowers decked with their collarets of blue tentacles, sea stars studding the sandy bottom.
If you have an incredible story to tell and you don't tell it well, then the story is actually falling on deaf ears. Today she has worked 35,000 hours. She has worked for 1,250 days. She's used 1 billion stitches, 30,000 French knots. I mean, when people look at it, I mean, today I think there's going to be a stampede here because everybody wants to be able to see that.
I'm going to invite Sunitra Lahiri to take you through what you will see today. 1 billion stitches. Sunitra?
It's the work that will draw them towards it, and it's the idea and the message that they will leave with it. I want them to deal with the planet better the next morning when they wake up. I want them to be conscious citizens, to be able to understand that. I want them to understand that, you know, when an urban space eats into a natural world, it is our decay, not theirs. So, you know, when I want people to walk out of this show, I want people to understand the world we live in, how beautiful it is. You know, when you actually, Sunitra, one of the things that she has is an entire collection of marine fish and the colors of it. And they're not fantastical, they're actually real. So imagine an ocean without those colors. what is an ocean worth?
The embroidery that she's using can really express what she's probably been going through the last 2 years. And I love the series of her aquatic world that she's done. Somehow the fish really speaks to you,
So I like doing watercolors, so that sensibility I think has spilled into my work, because when I think of embroidery, when I think of how to make a fabric come alive, to give maximum expression to what I have thought, to my imagination, I think of watercolors. I think of how it would flow if I was painting. So I think that's the kind of effect that's come out in my work.
I love the Nathdwara piece, the one with the Krishna and the cows.
It is kind of an eye-opening experience for me because I have not witnessed such exhibitions in my life earlier.
The world is trying to come back together. Nature wants its bit, man wants it. Who is going to win? The oceans are polluted, the minds are sad, and through that will we truly find our answers.
There's so much to soak in. It takes time, but if you can go through each and every work of art that's there, exhibited in front of us, it's like a journey which starts from somewhere, but it's kind of a never-ending journey.
I start with a very fundamental concept over here. If we don't save, we will not be saved. So what we save saves us. So there is no planet B option. This is the only home we have. We are trying to send rocket to Mars, and we are trying to find life on another planet or another universe or another galaxy. But it's so foolish, because we have it all here, and if you destroy our own home, we have nowhere else to go. You can't run.
হে অরণ্য, হে সুপ্রাচীন, আমায় ক্ষমা করিও।